to their method of operation, and we will continue the fight until we have recovered the entirety of the Sahel. So all the countries that are fighting today for their more economic independence, we are trying to collaborate better with these countries because it is a form of oppression by imperialism. It is necessary for those who are oppressed to unite in order Germany. So we are moving forward gradually. There are many structures to put in place, and there are many areas that need to be upgraded in the three countries. Because as you know, from an economic standpoint, we are not at the same level, and from a military perspective, there are many aspects to consider. We need to try to balance things out. And so this requires the establishment of many structures and numerous meetings. And free movement requires a certain number of parameters to be put together. You must have seen that we did a lot of work to come up with a single security document for travel and everything. So it's evolving and things are going very well. I think they themselves contributed to diminishing their own influence because they have a paternalistic view of our relationship. You see, whenever you look at everything we do, every initiative we take, it's about Russia. Someone speaks and they say they're influenced by Russia. Everything that happens, it's Russia. Why do they have their eyes closed like that? So Africans aren't capable of developing anything. Africans aren't capable of inventing, innovating, or taking initiatives. That's what we're fighting against. And look at their speeches. Look at their speeches. Even the French president, always in his speeches, says that young Africans are influenced by Russia. It said, and if you listen to Western media, they spend all their time lying. And look today, the AES, which is a model that's starting to take shape, they can't go a single day without talking about Burkina or the AES. It's impossible for them. And every time they try to spread information, to divide, to manipulate the youth. But it doesn't work anymore. I think people are aware enough. Now people have their eyes open. Through communication, they managed to rewrite history. And as for African history, they schemed everything to spread lies. As a result, some young Africans don't even know the history of Africa or what Africa has accomplished. Some don't even know that our grandparents fought, were put on the front lines as cannon fodder. And when they returned, they were killed like animals. Do people know that when France tested its first atomic bomb, it was black soldiers they placed nearby in the blast radius to see what would happen? Let's bring out the archives. Everything they've used against Africa is terrible. So all of this needs to be communicated so that young Africans understand, because there are many who are asleep and continue to speak on behalf of the imperialists. Whatever they're told to say, they do it. Maybe it's because, well, they're given something, I don't know. But Africans need to understand their history and wake up. So that's our fight as well. My biggest regret is having spent a good part of my youth listening to radio stations like RFI and France 24. I've been in countries where those radio stations were shut down. Has long been in a very complicated system.
A new leader emerged, Traoré. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a name now synonymous with the changing political landscape of Africa, stands as a beacon of hope for many in Burkina Faso. His rise to prominence is not just a tale of political maneuvering but a story of resilience and determination. Born in 1988, Traoré's journey to becoming the interim president of this Sahel nation is one of courage, conviction, and an unwavering commitment to his people. His early years were marked by a deep sense of duty and a desire to serve his country. From his early days in the military, Traoré displayed a keen understanding of the challenges facing his nation. He was not just a soldier, he was a strategist, a thinker, and a leader in the making. He witnessed firsthand the crippling effects of poverty, terrorism, and foreign interference. These experiences shaped his worldview and fueled his determination to bring about change. Traoré's rise to prominence began in 2022 when he, along with a group of like-minded military officers, orchestrated a coup d'état against the then-president Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. This bold move was not just a grab for power but a response to the growing discontent among the populace. This audacious move, while condemned by some international observers, was met with widespread support from the Burkinabe people who saw in Traoré a leader who truly understood their plight. His actions resonated with a nation yearning for change and a break from the past. His background, devoid of the typical trappings of privilege often associated with leadership in Africa, resonated deeply with the ordinary citizens of Burkina Faso. Traoré's humble beginnings and his connection to the common man made him a relatable and trusted figure. Traoré's appeal lay not just in his youth or military credentials but in his ability to articulate the frustrations of a nation grappling with poverty, insecurity, and a sense of disillusionment with the old guard. He spoke the language of the people, addressing their concerns and aspirations. He promised change, a departure from the neo-colonial arrangements that had for so long stifled Burkina Faso's potential. His vision was one of self-reliance and national pride. His message was clear. The time had come for Burkina Faso to chart its own course, free from external influence and driven by the aspirations of its people. Traoré's leadership marks a new chapter in Burkina Faso's history, one filled with hope, determination, and the promise of a brighter future. Turning away from the past, a shift in alliances. The arrival of Captain Ibrahim Traoré on the political stage was a momentous event that captured the attention of both national and international observers. His charismatic presence and bold rhetoric quickly made him a prominent figure in Burkina Faso's political landscape. His emergence signaled a definitive shift in Burkina Faso's foreign policy, one that would have far-reaching implications for the country's future. Traoré made it abundantly clear that the era of unquestioning allegiance to former colonial power France was over. This declaration resonated deeply with many Burkinabé who had long felt the weight of colonial legacy. This dramatic change in direction was born out of a growing sentiment within Burkina Faso that its long-standing relationship with France had become one-sided and exploitative. The people yearned for a new path, one that would prioritize their interests and sovereignty. The perception that France's influence was more of a hindrance than a help had been growing for years. Many felt that the benefits of this relationship were disproportionately skewed in favor of the former colonial power. Traoré, a staunch advocate for Pan-Africanism, instead turned towards Russia, a country he saw as a more reliable partner in Burkina Faso's quest for genuine independence and self-determination. This pivot was not just about changing allies but about redefining the nation's identity and future. The decision to align with Russia was strategic. Traoré believed that Russia could offer the support and respect that Burkina Faso needed to stand on its own feet. This new alliance was seen as a way to break free from the shadows of colonialism and forge a new path. This pivot towards Russia was not merely symbolic, it had tangible consequences for Burkina Faso's security apparatus. The partnership brought with it new opportunities and challenges. It had tangible consequences for Burkina Faso's security apparatus. Traoré sought the expertise of the Wagner Group, a Russian private military company, to bolster the country's fight against the growing Islamist insurgency that had plagued the Sahel region for over a decade. The involvement of the Wagner Group was a significant move. Known for their effectiveness and controversial methods, their presence in Burkina Faso marked a new phase in the country's security strategy. This collaboration aimed to strengthen Burkina Faso's military capabilities and provide the necessary training and resources to combat the insurgency effectively. The fight against the Islamist insurgency was a top priority for Traoré's administration. The partnership with Russia was seen as a crucial step in addressing this ongoing threat. The Sahel region had been a hotspot for terrorist activities, and Burkina Faso's efforts to secure its borders and protect its citizens were paramount. This move was met with mixed reactions internationally. While some saw it as a necessary step for Burkina Faso's security, others viewed it with suspicion and concern. Western powers, particularly France and the United States, expressed concern over Russia's growing influence in the region. They framed it as a destabilizing force that could have broader implications for regional stability. The international community was divided on this issue. Some supported Burkina Faso's right to choose its allies, while others feared the potential consequences of Russia's involvement. Critics argued that Russia's presence could lead to further instability and conflict in the region. They warned of the risks associated with relying on a foreign power with its own strategic interests. However, for Traoré and his supporters, the decision to partner with Russia was a pragmatic one. They believed it was a necessary step to address the very real security threats facing Burkina Faso. The partnership with Russia was seen as a way to enhance Burkina Faso's security and ensure the safety of its citizens. It was a calculated move to strengthen the country's defense capabilities. The collaboration with Russia provided Burkina Faso with the resources and expertise needed to combat the insurgency effectively. It was a step towards achieving greater stability and security. The shift in alliances from France to Russia under Traoré's leadership marked a turning point in Burkina Faso's history. It was a bold move that reflected the country's desire for greater autonomy and self-determination. This shift signified a rejection of the neo-colonial order and a bold assertion of the country's right to determine its own destiny. It was a declaration of independence and a commitment to forging a new path. The move away from France and towards Russia was a statement of Burkina Faso's intent to break free from the past and embrace a future defined by its own choices and alliances. It was a bold assertion of the country's right to determine its own destiny, even if it meant forging new partnerships and challenging the established geopolitical order. The shift in alliances was a testament to Burkina Faso's resilience and determination to chart its own course. It was a new chapter in the country's history, one that promised hope and possibility for the future. Forging a new path. Economic policies and their impact. Economic policies are the backbone of any nation's development, shaping the future of its people and the trajectory of its growth. Captain Traoré's economic vision for Burkina Faso was rooted in the principles of economic sovereignty and self-reliance. He envisioned a nation that could stand on its own feet, free from the shackles of foreign dependency. He believed that true independence could only be achieved if Burkina Faso had control over its own resources and the means to translate those resources into tangible benefits for its people. This belief was the cornerstone of his economic policies. One of his most significant economic policies was the nationalization of foreign-owned gold mines. This move was seen as a bold step towards reclaiming the nation's wealth. This bold move, while praised by those who saw it as a long-overdue correction to historical injustices, was not without its controversies. It was met with criticism from some quarters, particularly from multinational corporations who had long benefited from Burkina Faso's mineral wealth. These corporations argued that nationalization would deter foreign investment. Traoré argued that the nationalization of the gold mines was not about expropriation, but about ensuring that the profits from Burkina Faso's natural resources were reinvested back into the country, used to improve the lives of ordinary citizens. He believed that the wealth generated from these resources should benefit the people of Burkina Faso first and foremost. The revenue from the nationalized mines was channeled into various social programs aimed at uplifting the standard of living for the average Burkinabe. This included investments in healthcare, education, and infrastructure. In addition to nationalization, Traoré implemented a range of policies aimed at stimulating economic growth and reducing poverty. These policies were designed to create a more self-sufficient and resilient economy. These included investing in infrastructure projects, promoting local industries, and supporting small and medium-sized enterprises. By doing so, he aimed to create jobs and boost local production. Expanding access to education and healthcare was another cornerstone of his economic policies. Traoré understood that a healthy and educated population was essential for sustainable development. He understood that for Burkina Faso to truly prosper, it needed to move away from its dependence on foreign aid and create a more diversified and resilient economy. This meant developing various sectors, from agriculture to manufacturing, to reduce the nation's vulnerability to external shocks. The impact of Traoré's economic policies has been a subject of much debate. While some argue that his policies have led to increased domestic revenue and a reduction in extreme poverty, others have raised concerns about the long-term sustainability of these measures. While some argue that his policies have led to increased domestic revenue and a reduction in extreme poverty, others contend that the nationalization of the gold mines has scared off foreign investment and hampered economic growth. Critics point to the potential risks of isolating the country from the global economy. Others contend that the nationalization of the gold mines has scared off foreign investment and hampered economic growth. The departure of foreign companies has left some mines idle, leading to job losses and reduced economic activity in certain areas. Only time will tell the full impact of Traoré's economic reforms, but there is no doubt that he has set in motion a process of profound economic transformation in Burkina Faso. His policies have sparked a national conversation about the future of the country's economy and its place in the world. Section 4, A Nation Divided, the Attempted Coup of April 2025. The relative calm that had settled over Burkina Faso following Traoré's rise to power was shattered on April 21, 2025. News broke of a foiled coup attempt, a stark reminder of the fragility of the nation's political landscape and the challenges facing Traoré's leadership. The government swiftly moved to quell the uprising, alleging that the coup plotters were based in neighboring Ivory Coast and had ties to former regime officials. Several high-ranking military officers were arrested, sending shockwaves through the country. The attempted coup exposed the deep divisions that still lingered within Burkina Faso, particularly within the military. While Traoré enjoyed considerable popular support, there remained factions within the armed forces who remained loyal to the old guard and resented his reformist agenda. The incident also highlighted the regional dimensions of Burkina Faso's political instability. The alleged involvement of actors in Ivory Coast suggested that external forces were still seeking to influence events in Burkina Faso and undermine Traoré's government. The foiled coup, while unsuccessful in its immediate objective of overthrowing Traoré, served as a stark reminder of the challenges facing the young leader. It underlined the need to consolidate his power base, address the grievances of those who felt marginalized by his reforms, and remain vigilant against internal and external threats to his government. The events of April 21, 2025, served as a wake-up call, not just for Traoré but for the entire nation. Section 5, A Show of Force. The Rally in Ouagadougou. In the wake of the attempted coup, the streets of Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, transformed into a sea of red and green as thousands of people rallied in a powerful display of solidarity with Captain Traoré and his government. The rally, held on April 30, 2025, was not just a response to the recent unrest, but a resounding affirmation of the popular support Traoré enjoyed. It was a moment for the Burkinabe people to come together, to denounce those who sought to destabilize their nation, and to express their unwavering belief in Traoré's leadership. The atmosphere was electric, a potent mix of defiance and hope. Waving Burkina Faso and Russian flags, the demonstrators chanted slogans denouncing imperialism, neo-colonialism, and foreign interference in their country's affairs. The rally was addressed by Prime Minister Rimtalba Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo, a close ally of Traoré, who delivered a fiery speech urging unity and vigilance. He called upon the Burkinabe people to stand firm against those who sought to sow discord and undermine the progress made under Traoré's leadership. The rally was not just a show of force but a powerful symbol of the collective will of the Burkinabe people. It sent a clear message to both internal and external actors. Burkina Faso would not be bullied or intimidated. The people had chosen their leader and they were prepared to defend their choice.